Hello, my loves, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Randy Morgan. Thank you for being here. I am so excited for today's conversation. Whew. There's such big energies moving through with these revelations, and they're so exciting. So, just to dive right in. Today's topic of conversation is all about how rest is actually truly productive. Sorry for my fiddling. I'm feeling excited but like restless in this energy. And so just as I navigate and feel into it and come into the observer of all of it, um, rest. Rest is productive. Rest is productive. I myself, I've struggled with rest for ever. Or at least as since I've joined the race of you get a job, you go to work, this is how it is, blah blah blah. It's not how it is. I refuse to believe it's how it is. I have always been somebody who, and I don't know why I'm sharing this, so it must be relevant for someone out there, but I've always been somebody who went against the normal. I didn't get my first job till I was fully graduated high school because I thought, why waste the only summers I have left, And even after I graduated, I still didn't get a job until after that following summer. Of course, I had like side hustles and, I was an entrepreneur at a very young age, slanging all kinds of things and probably marijuana and smokes and or whatever, right? You do what you do as a kid to make a couple bucks and get by. But I always believed that I didn't have to follow the rules and that the rules actually weren't made for us to succeed. They were made for us to join a collective that's being controlled by a higher power that isn't in service to our highest good. And so I don't know how I knew this or where it came from. Maybe it's just because I watched my parents run this race, the human race. And I watched them suffer and struggle both in their individual ways. My dad didn't play it by the rules, and he broke a lot of laws and chose a much different route, whereas my mom worked 3 jobs. I remember taking the city bus to school at 6 in the morning, until my mom was able to buy, like a piece of shit car, and she played by the rules, and she struggled so hard. And my dad didn't play by the rules and had very different struggles, but still had another level of challenge. And so anyways, I'm definitely trailing a little bit. I witnessed that there are these rules that are put in place, whether you go this way or that way, or it's kind of the extremes of the pendulum, we can call it, where it's like, okay, you can go that way and not follow any of the rules, or you can go that way and follow the rules. Either way, you're still going to be faced with some level of challenge and or struggle or suffering. And so I took these two ways that my parents have both navigated and recognized that neither of them are working, and there's got to be a better way. And so I have been on this journey of, healing and productive, entrepreneurship. And, I don't know if I'm Gen X or Z. I was born in 98. Don't take that as a grain of salt, because I'm actually 77 in a 27-year-old body, okay? So don't let that fool you, because it sure can. That's another one of those rules we've been taught in this beautiful game of life, is that age is significant. let's be honest, I don't think it means shit because we're all at different maturity levels. We're all at different levels of self mastery or maturity or immaturity, or doesn't matter what your age is. We're all just growing through what we're going through. And so I know I'm leading many routes to what I'm getting to here, but rest is productive, right? We both of my parents worked really hard. Okay, one followed the rules, one didn't, but they both had this system that they worked really hard. You know, they put in this effort. And one of the things that I've explored since I was 16 is manifestation. You know, I watched that documentary, The Secret, like everybody did, and it blew my marbles. And I manifested. That is actually the reason why I didn't have to work until I was 18 or 19, because I learned the power of manifestation and I used it to my fullest capabilities, and I was unstoppable, you know? Up until I started getting rent and had bills to pay and insurance and had a car, and, you know, up until those things kind of came about, and then for some reason manifestation didn't fit in with those rules of like, oh, I can't just manifest my bills. Like, it doesn't work like that. But I can manifest a music festival ticket, or I can manifest a ride, or I can manifest going to dinner with my friends. You know, it was like easy manifestation that I was going through at that age. And then so fast forward to having bills, and then you know, there's somewhere where the rules got like, this is how you play the game. You get a job to pay your bills, and that's part of the game that we play in life. And so blah blah blah. This is what I'm getting to. Rest is productive. I'm going to keep saying it because it really makes me excited to have this revelation. Oh. And this is why, because the system is that we work really hard. We force, we push, we pry, we push forward, we push through, we get through it, we get over it. There's always just this force behind what we're trying to get through, or what we're trying to get to or go through. And that is something that I've battled with internally on such an extremely deep level that it's made me sick more times than I can count. It's ruined a lot of self-worth and self-esteem, and you know, it is what makes me compare myself to others. It's the voice, you know, whether it's my mom's or my dad's or the teachers or society's, or, you know, a collective voice in the back of my mind that says, you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough, you will never be enough. You know, you don't have time to sit and rest. There's no time for that. One of the big ones that I really struggle with is even this morning. Like, I haven't been feeling well the past week, and this happens often where I hit burnout all the time. Just because I go. And even though I'm meditating, and even though I'm doing the things, and I'm doing my yoga, and I'm doing the exercises, and I'm doing everything right, how they say to do everything right, you know? And I'm still burnt out, and I deal with a compromised immune system because of a head injury. And, you know, we all have our struggles. We all have our humanness that's happening beneath the surface. And so one of my firm beliefs is that what's happening in the body isn't just because you caught a bug or something else. It's because there's something internal that needs to be dealt with. There's something that is trying to get your attention within your body. And so like many of us in this collective are being called to right now into deep rest, I've also been feeling that call from my body, and it hits me in hard ways, right? You get sick, or you get some other kind of illness, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, where your body's just like, no, we're not going to keep going on like this. And so this collective's being called into rest. And so when we go into rest, when I go into rest particularly, I would like to share is I can feel my body at in resistance to allowing myself to rest. I can feel just like I should be doing something right now. I should be doing something right now. Like I could be meditating, being like, oh, in about an hour and a half, I will go into the XYZ and I will download and then I'll do my taxes and I will 9 plus 4 equal, you know what I mean? Like I'm still working in my meditations. And so this morning I set like a really powerful intention and just like threw on a movie, and instead of doing something like meditating and all these things have their place, of course. I love meditating. I've been meditating for 10 years. I would never go against it, but there's a time and a place for everything, right? and so this morning I set the intention. I put on a movie. I rented a movie even. I paid for it. I have the Netflix and the Prime, but I was like, this one movie, and I'm just going to set the intention. And because I had to pay for it, it felt super intentional. And it held like a little bit more meaning. And so I felt like spirit, like they put this movie in my mind. Often spirit will communicate to me through movies or music or all kinds of things. And so there was this one that was on my mind. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put it on. But then I had to rent it. And so blah, blah, blah. I rented it, and that made it super intentional for me. So I sat there and was like just observing and saying, this is going to be a very potent 2 hours of rest for me. Because I woke up feeling like I didn't sleep good enough or something, and I'm still having like throat chakra problems, which I've been navigating for the last while. I should say last while. It's been and so I'm going through this clearing process, and we could say upgrades and whatever else this collective is going through, and what we're navigating individually. Excuse me, sorry. There it is, making itself apparent. And so productive rest. I set the intention to have productive rest to start my morning, which is like odd because normally I get up and I start my day. So it was really against what I would normally do, like go for a walk, have a workout, make my smoothies, have breakfast, journal, all these productive things I do in the morning to start my day and get my brain ready and the body ready for my day. And and I went against all of it. I was just like throwing caution to the wind. I'm going to throw on a movie and I'm going to snuggle up in a blanket with my dog, and I'm just going to nourish this need in my body for rest intentionally. And in that space, I recognized, oh, I have so much resistance. I have this thing in my body that is like, no, you cannot rest. We don't have time for rest. We have so much to do. Like, of course, in the moments that you need rest too, you start thinking about, oh crap, I haven't done my taxes. I forgot I need to finish those, or I haven't done that, or I haven't. Obviously, that's something on my mind because I keep mentioning it. My taxes, they're really getting to me. They're gnawing at me under the surface. And so, and it's funny when we're in these moments where we really need rest, that's when like everything gets really loud. And one of the things that happens when we are overcoming a pattern, or we are breaking old cycles, is before the cycle gets broken, it gets really loud because it doesn't want to die. The cycle or the pattern or that past self is like, hey, look, you need to panic. Keep panicking because that's what we're used to. And I'm trying to overcome, or this collective is trying to overcome that inability or that resistance to rest, that restlessness, we could even say. And so sitting with it and just witnessing it getting louder and louder and louder, whatever that looks like, right? For me, it was just like sitting there watching this movie being like, I'm going to stay here. I'm just going to keep staying here. I'm going to stay here and focus on this movie and just relax into this moment, relax into my body. I was like, why do I struggle to let go? You know, I could see like tension, or I could feel tension in my shoulders. I could feel my body just, it's the 11th and 11:44 on the clock while I'm saying this. I'm all about angel numbers. So if this holds some significance or somebody's trying to get your attention, if those numbers mean anything to you, they mean something to me. So I'm so grateful for this moment. It's my confirmation that I am doing the right thing. Not doing the right thing, though. We don't need to do the right thing. We need to do what is in alignment. What a tricky game this is. And so, coming back to what I was saying. Eventually, the restlessness and the resistance subsided, right? I just sat with it long enough. And that's normally all you need, is just to sit with it and be like, okay, restlessness, okay, resistance. I see you, I hear you, and you're allowed to be there. But I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to feed you the food that you want, which is to run around, which is to race, which is to push, which is to pry, pull, push through. I'm like, I'm not. I'm resting. I am intentionally resting. And in that space, when I really get to a calm state of resting, it doesn't mean I'm sleeping or meditating or anything. I'm just in a restful state. I start to receive answers to the things that I would normally be forcing and trying to seek, right? Through Googling or, working, sorting through emails, writing back emails, doing business stuff. There's all this like clutter and chatter that we do in between actual productivity or actual task doing. And so I recognized as I was resting, I was like, oh, like I know the answer to finishing my taxes. Like I really need some help doing them. I'm just going to hire, whatever the online, I work with this website, I'm just going to hire their people because they'll know how to really easily. I'm like, whatever, it's going to cost me $100. I'm just going to get it done because the stress that it's putting on me is not worth not paying the $100. You know what I mean? So I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to do that. And that just felt good and clear. And it wasn't something that I had to like, before I was like, oh, I have to go to the West Coast place and see if they'll help me out for free. But I don't think they'll help out because I'm a business owner and blah, blah, blah. This is my first tax year being a business owner. And so I didn't realize all of the blah, blah, blah. Anyways. And so while I'm in this restful state where I'm like, oh, I should be doing this and I should be going there and we should be doing this and I should be taking Blue to the park because he needs to go to the park. He didn't go for this morning walk and my brain is like blah, 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 blah. And I just stayed there. And then I got to a restful place where finally like things got quiet and I was like, okay, we'll figure it out. And then the answers came and was like, oh, there's the answer to that problem. There's the solution to that problem. They were never problems to begin with. They were just illusory problems that my mind made up, making a molehill a mountain. And so this is potent stuff. I hope you're taking notes, or at least mental notes, if this resonates for you. So rest is and can be so much more productive than us running around from a restless, unsettled, like we are so much more productive when we're relaxed. And even this, I had to make a video for tomorrow. I didn't make tomorrow's video yet. I'm filming this on the 11th, right? It's going to post on the 12th. And I said that I would post one video every day. And I missed Saturdays. And so I was like, well, I have to do this. 11:22 on that clock. All my clocks are going to be wrong. By the way, time is an illusion to me, and none of my clocks in my house are right. They're just for funsies in my house. Anyways, so I'm getting all my angel confirmations in here. Now the clock says 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. I'm getting sidetracked. But in that space, I totally forget what I was saying. But in that space, I receive the clarity. I receive the answer. I receive, it's like they say, before you meditate, you have a whole list of to-dos. And after you meditate, the to-do list is taken care of. One of my favorite metaphors for meditation, and we could say meditation or meditative rest, same thing. You can even do it watching a movie. Not always. You can't go unconsciously watching a movie and be in a meditative rest. That's not the same. But one of my favorite mentors, Kyle Cease, would say, meditation is just like sitting on the toilet and waiting for the universe to take away your shit. Basically, maybe I shouldn't use that word because it's a pretty strong metaphor then, but basically, like going to the bathroom, you just sit and wait and the universe handles it. Or the life itself handles it, like right? And we all know if we try to go to the bathroom and we try to force it, it doesn't work, right? You have to relax. You have to relax into it. And so, not to get too visual with this, but it's the same thing. Meditation is the same thing. Like, you just sit, you relax, you wait. But you also want to get to a place where you're not waiting, because waiting is still a doing. And when I say doing, it's like a action. We don't want to take actions. Oh, sorry, this crazy hair today. I'm loving it. I'm loving the do. So thank you if you noticed. I got a haircut. Yeah, and so it's so beautiful to just recognize this. And if you're somebody who struggles with rest, I dare you to get to that point within yourself where you're watching the inner battle of the mind go, no, I have to do all these things. I have to get there. I have to do this. I'm going to be late. I spilled my coffee. I need to make a new one. I didn't have breakfast. I don't have time. I don't have time. Do you know how many times my mom would say that to me growing up? We don't have time. We're going to be late. We don't have time. We're going to be late. And then you get older and you're like almost 30 and that's your entire life. You don't have time to rest. You're going to be late. You're not even going anywhere, but you're going to be late. And I feel like it's just something that this collective has really, or society has trained us to be in, to be in the race. I mean, don't sit down for too long. You're going to be late. And then we can't sit down for too long because there's patterns inside of us that are like, no, we cannot. And that's the little metaphorical prison that we're in, that we have no idea that we're in, is the mind, right? The mind becomes its own prison because it's been trained really well by the outside world. And now you grow up and you're like, oh my God, I have to retrain my internal world because my alarm is going off. It's very distracting because I wasn't trained properly. I wasn't trained to master my emotions. I wasn't trained to master my life. I wasn't trained to master my finances. I wasn't trained to become financially abundant. I wasn't trained to be a magical being expressing their gifts authentically. I wasn't trained to be, we didn't get taught these things that we think we should just have. And so we have to retrain ourselves or unlearn and then relearn how to be a master of yourself, your emotions, and be your own best friend and learn to love your life. And, what a powerful, powerful thing though it is to be aware of that and take really mindful, beautiful steps towards it by having a rest. and just listening to the chaos that wants to stir up inside of you and letting it be there. And continuing to rest, because you are the master behind your mind, not the student with the mind as a master. Does that make sense? So don't let your mind be the master, because it's been trained by everyone outside of you. And if you haven't particularly chosen those individuals or the society or culture, then you might want to make a conscious decision to choose who you're going to learn from moving forward, and question some of the things that you've been taught and you have learned this far that you've been using to navigate your life. Because a lot of the times, or most of the time, I would say, a lot of the things we learned, depending where you grew up, but a lot of the times they're really not in service to us. If we made most of our belief system before the age of 7, that is a young system to be building your adult life on. So I'm going to leave it there. Rest is productive. Please get your rest today. Take it easy. Be nice to your body. Love yourself. Love yourself, even though it's freaking hard sometimes, and we don't know how. We don't understand how. I really hope you can't hear my alarm in the background. It's still going. But I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys so much. If you made it to the end of the video, please drop me, I don't know, drop me an emoji. Make it a surprise today. In the comments, let me know you made it to the end. I really appreciate when you guys do that. It also helps the algorithm get this to more peeps that need it and that will benefit from it. I love you all. Have a blessed rest of your day. And until next time, bye for now.